Halo 2 was a great sequel to Combat Evolved. It was the beginning of trying different perspectives other than the Master Chief, showing us the brutal and religious structure of the Covenant. With Halo 2 giving more emphasis on the Covenant and the Elites, I thought, how difficult is Halo 2 with Reverse Foreign? Now, what exactly is Reverse Foreign? Well, if you've ever played a lasso run in Halo Combat Evolved, you would know there's a skull called Foreign. This prohibited the player from using any alien weapons. Reverse Foreign, going with Halo 2's focus on the Covenant, prevents me from using any human weapons, grenades, or vehicles. To explain in the rule set, this is how it will go. At no point am I allowed to use human weapons, grenades, or vehicles, as I would not know how they function. I am only allowed to use Covenant technology, and by extension, the Forerunner Sentinel Beam. Melee is allowed. Pretty sure any species can figure out how to throw hands, right? This challenge will also be set on legendary difficulty, because I ain't a bitch. Starting off with the Armory, we don't encounter any enemies in this level, so Sergeant Johnson comes and forcefully abducts us, and then we decide to run the gondola to the end of the mission. We just get to ride along and enjoy the scenery. Moving on to Cairo Station, we get our first weapon and our first enemy encounter, and, well, there's a big problem here already. We can't use these UNSC weapons, so we're forced to melee the enemy until they come through that door or have our allies take them out. Now, surprisingly, this section was not very hard. I was able to pretty much just sit up here on this ledge, wait for them to come through the door, and then backsmack the first elite that came out. And being able to pick up a plasma rifle just allowed me to kind of clean the rest of them up. I'm not going to go over every enemy encounter as we'd be here forever, and I'm already planning to do 2 parts of this because I want to go more into depth on how these fights work when you only have one side of the arsenal of the entire game. But for the most part, the combo is just going to be plasma pistol and then just rifle because we don't have a headshot weapon, and dying is very easy when you only have close range weapons for this level. Progressing through the first bit of the level with all the firefights, we grab a double plasma rifle to try and hopefully kill things quickly in close range, but unfortunately going down some stairs I got killed by a Harry Potter based elite and he fucking just bodied me. With the next attempt, we just go straight out the window instead to try and shred any enemy up close. Now unfortunately, trying to jiggle peek a bunch of elites is not the safest thing because 3 of their shots takes my shield while I have to shoot them like 12 times with 2 plasmas. Reaching the first boarding craft room, we kinda just have to take it slowly. Plasma pistols and plasma rifles aren't notorious for kill pressure, so we see if we can stun one with a pistol and then get a stick on any ultras that lurk around. Or just as going with the double plasma rifle, we just kind of shred them. I picked up a needler here to see if I could get anything with a plasma pistol and then a needler shot. A needler in Halo 2 is not the greatest, but it still helps. The second boarding craft room is where we start seeing some problems. We have 2 grunts up top with cannons, and then we have a bunch of elites that keep spawning in wave after wave. First up with a few minors and majors, then majors again, and I think finally we get 2 ultras and a zealot. Or even 3 ultras and a zealot, I think. But the way to go with this is keep your plasma nades for this section. They are super important here. You're going to want a full stock plasma rifle and even a pistol, and if you have to, start stocking weapons, because this stuff will drain your ammo really quickly with how much an elite will get away from you. The elites in this game are actually kind of smart and will hide from you if they're low on shields. So the strategy that I figured out was use the pistol to get any weak elites that are kind of just sticking around and then nade them if you really want to, or burst them down with double plasma rifle. You really have to capitalize on elite kills here because if they stack up, you're not going to be able to do anything with your ammo, and with how limited your weapons are, you really have to be fast or take it slow. So saving your nades for this section, for the waves that come in, I stick up on the high ground, take out the first couple elites, keep my marines alive, and then when any reinforcements come through the hole, you just blow them all up with like 2 nades. Now the zealot, with the zealot part, with a couple ultras, you really need to see if you can bait the zealot over to you, because if you can bait the zealot and you can get his sword, you could take out the rest of the ultras pretty easily by just going in, killing one, and then hiding again. Despite them wanting to rush you at some points, the elites in this game will not rush you hardcore. Like, they're not gonna, if you're low on HP, you could usually sit behind a box and they're not gonna help go for you too much. Moving through Cairo, we get to the space section where we start finding elites that have the ability to kind of jetpack around. This area sucks, I'm gonna be honest. not having a carbine or anything to take out elites that are unshielded is just really painful. Biggest concerns when 1v1ing an elite is looking for the double plasma elites. Those guys will absolutely maul you in like a second or two. I've had moments where I've literally just been running around. Next frame, I'm dead. I'm not even kidding. Getting to the final room of the level, we encounter the Covenant trying to set up a bomb on Cairo, and, well, we don't want that shit going off. So, what do? Pray to God I don't absolutely get my ass blasted while I'm trying to 1v1 all these elites. A couple ultras, couple majors, and like 2 minors. It's not fun. There have been moments where they secretly rush me and I'm not paying attention, and I just get absolutely bodied. After the rest of the elites are dead, you just have one last one to scrap up, and Cairo Station is complete. Moving on to one of my favorite levels in Halo 2, Outskirts. We will not be doing any major skips in this level, just to make sure we go through all of it, and I just really want to see how the challenge is. Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson wake up after partying a little too hard last night, and immediately after waking up, we beat the shit out of the first grunt we see and take his prized weapon. Just so we can hide in the next building like a little bitch and wait for Johnson to shoot all the sniper jackals so we don't have to deal with them. If you don't know, sniper jackals in Halo 2 Legendary will just one-shot you without mercy. After the battle and playing Ring Around the Rosie with some hunters and whatever this is. You good, man? We then move on to the Jackal sniper-infested hallways, which is not going to be a lot of fun, so I scale some buildings to grab a beam rifle that a Jackal dropped up here.
Hail to the year. Really good at sniping.
Now here come the fun reaction time tests against giant chickens that are souped up on like 20 bottles of Monster. And the fucking aim of a goddamn veteran. Seriously, if you miss your one shot and these guys see you, you're... count your days.
I thought you were an elite. Damn it. Oh, God.
After the numerous amount of Jackal trade offers, we continue down the alleyways of Mombasa one snipe at a time. After the sniping session is done and dusted, we move on to where a Marine encampment is hiding from some Covenant. And you know me, I just kind of walk right past them, I don't even bother. I got jump scared from my own Marine trying to skedaddle away. With the creepy and menacing hallway, it wasn't that hard, I'm just kind of a dumbass. I threw one, not just one, but 2 grenades into the wall. Passing the hallway, we get to the beach, and we just straight up run past the Phantom to get to the Ghost, because I'm not dealing with all that. With no precision weapons to my name, and a vehicle with the health of paper, this next section was a little difficult. So I kind of just had to take it slow, unfortunately using the HP of my Ghost to clear everything in this area. You can also try to just boost right past, but you run the risk of getting sniped by the Jackals. Now apparently, some allies on Warthogs popped up, and this made my life so much easier. After a few attempts of stupidly running my head into the wall, I was able to get into this watchtower successfully and use the beam rifle to clear the next area, while the Warthog dealt with the Ghosts. With my previous vehicle being destroyed, I had to rely on the Warthogs to take out the enemies in this area. So the Ghost kind of fucked off, and then I was able to sneakily walk right past the Phantom to the other area, and that's when it started leaving. In the few final areas of this level, I just stood on a building, sniped some elites, failed some sword techs that I still couldn't pull off, then entered the tunnel and got in a Ghost, did some pretty sick flips in said Ghost. Thankfully, that was enough excitement to prepare me for shooting a bunch of shadows right in the back for a while. God, that was so boring. With the final Covenant encampment upon us, I eventually lost my Ghost and sat in a crate for the past like 10 minutes trying not to die through a Ghost and an elite that wanted to come up and say hi. Then I was able to slowly walk my green metal ass out of the tunnel and into Metropolis. Moving on to Metropolis, Sergeant Johnson promptly reminds us that this section may be a little interesting now that we don't have
66 tons of straight up, HE spewing divine intervention.
Much as he really wants to be called Cupid, he's really just rubbing salt into the wound. Now that our hopes and dreams are promptly crushed, now that we don't know what the lady's like, we start our perilous journey across the bridge. Now, interestingly, even though we didn't get in the Scarab, the Marines actually do follow us across the bridge. So the one with the rocket launcher makes this section a little more bearable. Still, that does not make this section easy at all. You have to let your Marine with the rocket launcher take out the ghost, and then somehow bait another ghost to you to be able to hijack it so that way you have some kind of defense against the Wraith and other ghosts. The way I played it was trying to keep my rocket launcher Marine alive to take out most of the ghosts, and I just kept trying to slowly push my way forward, taking out every ghost as I go with my own, or trying to hijack him for a free HP ghost if mine got destroyed.
Yoink.
With the Wraith, I just kind of took range and kept shooting it. Wasn't really that interesting. The last section with the Banshees is where it gets really interesting though. So, for a while I tried to kill the Banshees with my Ghost and my plasma rifles, but surprisingly those bitches tanky as fuck. I might as well just be shooting peas at this point. The best option was to kind of just boost through and get into the tunnel. After boosting through the tunnel and getting to the first blockade with some jackals, a bunch of Marines show up on a Warthog that I wasn't expecting, and one has a shotgun that we can't use. So after clearing the jackals, we grab a beam rifle on top, and start clearing the forward area with said beam rifle. Make sure you look for the sniper jackal on the right and on the next blockade because they will fuck you up. The elites in here are not too bad. You can just kind of throw some nades at them or let the Marines deal with them, since the Marines will not really be too helpful in the next section. Now we would be moving on to the next area, but apparently a jackal decided to just say no and absolutely survived a beam rifle shot to the face and fucking rolled me. Getting to the giant courtyard with the Wraiths and jackals, you can take out this one with a back smack, and then try to focus on taking out the rest of the sniper jackals first. Now, weirdly enough, in this section, there's apparently a fucking jackal mob spawner in the back or something, because you will kill at least like 10 or 20 before they stop spawning. I don't know what goes on back there. So keep your beam rifle aim towards those stairs that I'm looking at right now, and you can kind of spawn kill them every time they come in. They'll run in a pretty particular pattern every time, so you can kind of just abuse it.
How many jackals do you want?
After getting your revenge on the local giant chicken population, you can move forward with some beam rifles to take out the forward ghosts, and hopefully not get your shots blocked by a tree for some reason. Keeping your newly stolen ghost safe, you can use the beam rifle to take 2 jackals up front, and then use the ghost to take out the Wraith. Now you do have to be a little careful because there are ghosts that will come down, and they'll only go for you if you peek out that side. If you go back through the door, they'll leave you alone, and if you try to peek through the door again to shoot the Wraith, they'll come by and attack you. So you might have to take out the ghosts first, or just rush through and take them out yourself, and then deal with the Wraith after. With the second to last section of Metropolis pulling out all the stops, this is where shit gets real. So apparently if you spend too much time in this area and don't eliminate all 3 Wraiths, the door will open anyways to the Marine hideout. My dumbass thought you had to take out every single Wraith to get to the next section, but apparently it doesn't seem that way. You just have to survive for a while, survive all the damn bombardment from the 3 Wraiths, or 2 Wraiths if you take out the first one like I did, and then survive a bunch of ghosts that come by. Then you can just wait for the door open, let the Phantom pass, and speed right through. Taking the scenic route up some stairs, and almost getting stepped on by a Scarab. With guess what, your old pal, the stairs. Meeting the Scarab for the final time here, we can either jump on and just guns blaze the crew, or you could wait till the Scarab gets a little further, and you can jump on that way while you have some Marine allies to help you out. Take out the Scarab crew one by one, preferably with a beam rifle or some nades, and Metropolis is done. We are now in the Arbiter, and this is where things get interesting. As the Arbiter, we have access to active camouflage, unlike Chief, who has a terrible temporary flashlight. With the interesting part is our first access to the carbine. With an all-around good precision weapon at our side, and the ammo for the carbine being rather common due to our enemy being Covenant traitors, we can roll through these next 2 levels pretty simply. Moving our way through the gas mine, killing anyone who gets in our way, and apparently ourselves with how my friendly elites want to throw grenades at the wall.
I am invincible! Invincible! Yeah!
Clearing room after room using your active camouflage as a buffer, We then find the heretic leader getting into a banshee, which we have to then follow him, and if you know exactly where he went, you can skip this entire flying section. Clear out the landing zone with your banshee. Hell, bottle flip your banshee and make it land on its nose while you take out the last heretic elite, and complete the arbiter. Now on the Oracle, the Flood joined the party for the first time in Halo 2. Me and the gang huddle in the corner as we cry ourselves to sleep while dealing with the Flood, to then stumble upon the dreaded elevator, which actually wasn't all that bad. Just keep moving, use your camo when you need it, and headshot the Flood with the carbine. Hell, you don't even need to do the entire thing, just drop down once it's low enough. If anything, this room was the one that gave me a little more trouble than the last one. Now that you have to deal with the Flood, the heretics, with this small arena type room with the only cover being on the outside. After escaping the room and getting some allies outside, we chase the heretic down where he takes social distancing a little too far. So in order for us to convince him to come out to the outside world, let's fucking dunk him. Rushing our way to the elevator where we then take it and go up some mesmerizing tube. We then have to act fast and run around using active camouflage to cut 3 different cables to make the station go into freefall towards the gas giant threshold. Just make sure not to launch yourself over the edge with the energy sword like I did. With the station now in freefall, we chase after the heretic leader, backtracking our way through the gas mine. Now engaging in a fight with the heretic leader, the fight can go a little south here and there. You're going to want to use cover during the fight and then use invisibility to get close and use the energy sword on. Now you may end up lunging into the wall just due to how the Halo 2 energy sword works, or your lunges could just fucking do nothing. There will be 3 stages of this, of him flying in, you going invisible, and then stabbing him with your energy sword until he is dead. With the heretic leader now dead and Tartarus stealing the light bulb, this mission is now behind us.